Last time, we saw a new fighter join the crew. The present version of Cell is now a Z fighter. How's that going to change things going forward, especially after the Buu saga? We'll be covering all that and more in this 5th part of What If Goku Learned Fusion Early. There's a passage of time after the Buu saga. Let's say about a year or so. Something is about to happen earlier than normal due to a prophecy. Vegeta, Broly, and Paragus are still out in space. They don't really have a permanent place of residence, but their lives are actually going pretty well, although there's not really much to do for them. Vegeta's pretty pleased with where he is. He's grown a lot stronger, and he has the perfect rival, Broly. Now, getting control of Broly's power was an issue, because at some point, Broly did surpass Vegeta in terms of strength. Vegeta by now has Super Saiyan 2 and has even gone beyond that. But at one point, Broly eventually did show off Super Saiyan, and he couldn't control it. Vegeta and Paragus barely made it out of that alive, and Broly hasn't used it since. But they encounter someone unexpected one day. Someone that Vegeta actually knows from before. It's Lord Beerus, the god of destruction. And Whis, of course. Vegeta's frozen with fear, but he's looking for a rival, actually. It was prophesied that his rival would show up around this time, and it would be a Saiyan. So, he came to Vegeta, the prince of the Saiyans. He's still alive and has 2 others around him. Well, definitely isn't Paragus. He's a little stronger than normal, but nothing exceptional, and he is about to hit that point when he starts rapidly aging, so it's definitely not him. As for the other 2, Beerus asks them about Super Saiyan God, and they know nothing about it. But Beerus decides to fight them, first starting with Vegeta, who shows off his full power in Super Saiyan 3. Without a tail, he can't really utilize this properly because his tail never did grow back, but he doesn't have enough power either way. This is basically the last resort and does nothing to Beerus. So Beerus then tries to fight Broly, and for once Broly has an excuse to go all out, so this is the perfect test for that. Beerus pushes him into Super Saiyan, and eventually Broly even shows off his full power, which Vegeta and Paragus had never seen before. They think everything's over now because there's no way they're going to be able to stop Broly. But thankfully it's Beerus he's fighting, and Beerus is pretty damn strong. He is surprised. Broly definitely has power way beyond what he expected for a regular mortal, and there's no godly key within it. But despite his great power, he clearly doesn't have control over it. So, besides his power not being divine, there's also the fact that he can't even use it properly, so that's definitely not his rival either. He stops Broly amidst the fight before he can grow too much. And he does it really easily, at least way more easily than Vegeta expected. If he could do that, he wonders how strong Beerus truly is, and on top of that, what type of rival he's looking for. Beerus actually says that Broly's power was pretty close to what he expected, but it's far too wild for him to be the actual rival that he's looking for. He still doesn't even know what Super Saiyan God is. Is it a form? A person? Something else? He's not sure. So he's still going to look for the other Saiyans too. He knows some other Saiyans exist on Earth, so he's going to check that out next. One of the Saiyans there actually did defeat Frieza, although he had to use Metamorph and Fusion. Interesting. Beerus wonders if he's strong as is, or if he's just using Fusion as a crutch basically. But Vegeta wants to come along too. He assures Beerus that Kakarot definitely is strong. He's also a Super Saiyan, and Vegeta's sure that by now he's gone beyond Super Saiyan just like he did. It wouldn't hurt to take them along, so Whis brings along Vegeta's crew. Beerus first finds a strong power out in the middle of a wasteland. It appears to be someone training here, and in Vegeta's eyes, the key definitely feels like Kakarot. But something is weird about it. It feels a little bit different. In the middle of this wasteland, they find someone meditating, but it's definitely not Kakarot. Not only does he not look Saiyan, he doesn't even look human. It's a tall green man, and he doesn't know who they are, and they don't know who he is. Well, actually, he has kind of an idea. It's Cell. He doesn't have data on Broly and Paragus because they came to Earth after Gero stopped collecting data and before Bulma found Cell. And of course he doesn't know Beerus and Whis, but he has data on Vegeta's fight with Goku in the Saiyan saga, and thinks he might be here as a threat, especially because Goku told him before that Vegeta returned to fight him at one point. But Cell calmly asks who they are, and Beerus explains. He's the god of destruction. Cell's never heard of anything like that. And he can't sense this guy's power, but if he really is strong, he would love to fight him, as long as he's up for it, of course. Vegeta has no clue of what he's walking into. First of all, how does this guy know him? Second of all, why does his ki partially feel like Kakarot's? And third, why is he acting like a more polite version of Kakarot? Beerus learns that Cell is actually part Saiyan. Well, he's looking for a full Saiyan, but maybe this will be interesting. And Cell will be sure to get Goku over here. Actually, Goku will probably sense them fighting and come over here regardless. And he explains who he is too, which is pretty surprising to Vegeta. This guy's a completely artificial android. Broly and Paragus note something strange too. Part of his ki feels like Vegeta's. Oh yeah, his original creator did get some DNA from Vegeta. He does apologize, he didn't really have a say in it. Hopefully that doesn't offend Vegeta at all. And Vegeta is a bit annoyed about his DNA being stolen for some android that he doesn't even know about, but now he's also curious. How strong is this guy? Actually, does he have Broly's DNA? Well, actually not. He knows nothing about Broly. Broly was only on Earth very briefly, and the computer was still collecting a bit of data, but it wasn't adding more DNA to Cell by this point. Plus, it wouldn't have even known Broly was a good target for that because he never fought in general. So even if the drones were still collecting DNA, Broly wouldn't have been one of the people targeted. Anyways, that's just a long way of saying Broly is not part of his DNA. Beerus begins fighting Cell, and he actually sees that he's pretty strong. And it eventually leads Goku over to the area, realizing there's a fight going on. Cell then catches Goku up to speed, and they learn what Beerus is looking for. Beerus is getting a little impatient, but he's been having fun so far. Plus, he's curious about trying the food on this planet. Goku says it's definitely really great and they could set him up with something. But if he wants to find out about the Super Saiyan God, Goku knows nothing about that. Although he does try to fight Beerus, and of course it doesn't really go well. He's around the same level as Vegeta by now, and he actually did get Super Saiyan 3 for himself, with the same downsides Vegeta has of course. So nothing really comes of that fight. So far, Broly was the strongest person he fought, Cell was the most impressive because he had strength and actual control on his power, and as for the other two, well, they're strong for mortal standards, but he's not too sure if they'd be his rivals. It's a weird group to pick from, but Cell has a good idea. By now, Kami has actually upgraded Shenron. He never fused with Piccolo, but he decided it might be better if Shenron has a few extra wishes, you know, like Porunga. So they could just summon Shenron and use one of the wishes for that, try and figure out what the Super Saiyan God is. Surely Shenron would know. So they do find the Dragon Balls and they summon him, learning about the ritual and what the Super Saiyan God is. So they need 6 Super Saiyans total, and the good thing is, they actually do have that. They don't know how that's going to work with Broly in the ritual, especially if he loses control, and one of the Saiyans they have in mind is Cell, who obviously isn't a full Saiyan. Plus, there's Gohan and Goten, who are only half Saiyan. There's only one way to find out if the ritual would work. So, Goku, Gohan, Goten, Cell, Broly, and Vegeta are in the ritual, with Goku being the person receiving the form. They don't know how Broly would handle it, and Cell thinks it would be better suited for Goku, especially because he doesn't even know if he can get the form for himself. Vegeta wants it too, but it sounds like Goku is a better fit for the ritual anyways, with him being a pure-hearted, righteous Super Saiyan after all. Plus, Gohan and Goten would probably want him to become the Super Saiyan God, so they eventually agreed to use the ritual on Goku, with him becoming the Super Saiyan God, then fighting Beerus. And it goes pretty much like you'd expect. I would say by this point in the story, Goku's pretty much relative to where he is in canon. Of course, he never died, so he never had 7 years of straight training in Otherworld, but thanks to having Cell and other methods of training, especially with fusion, I think it would help him keep pace a bit, which means when he becomes a Super Saiyan God, he's pretty much around the same level. And Beerus found what he was looking for. Well, Goku definitely needs to work on that power, but he has a bunch of potential. So does everyone else here. He'll be back someday, especially because he tried some of the food here and it tasted delicious. Beerus and Whis end up leaving, and then Vegeta, Broly, and Paragus realize they're stuck here, aren't they? They never took their ship with them. They assumed Beerus and Whis would take them back, but they didn't. Goku says maybe they can give them another ship, but then Bulma chimes in. It might be best for them to stay here. And besides, she does flirt with Vegeta a bit. Unfortunately for Yamcha, he fumbled here. But they basically have no other choice, so Vegeta, Broly, and Paragus stay on Earth. The new Saiyan residents grow stronger and try to catch up to Goku. Paragus isn't really training much because he's almost past that point in his life. But as for Vegeta and Broly, Vegeta definitely wants to get to that level in any way possible, and he's going to train for it. Sure, he could just use the ritual, but he thinks he could find a way himself without using that. Broly's not too obsessed with growing stronger than Goku, but he's training still, especially because he wants to get control of his power. Vegeta has motivated him more, and he is a Saiyan, so he does have that fighting spirit. But he doesn't have the idea in mind that he wants to be number one. Most of his focus is on controlling his power. Vegeta and Broly also learn more about Cell, and Vegeta wonders, if he's made of other people's DNA, why doesn't he include more DNA to get even stronger? He likes fighting and growing strong, so why not just do that? And you know what? Yeah, he could do that. Especially because, like I mentioned before, Cell doesn't have a crazy amount of potential in the story. He definitely grows faster than Goku and Vegeta, but not on the level of Broly, for example. He is mostly just a regular Saiyan with Namekian DNA. Without Frieza or King Cold as a part of him, it's not like he's going to have insane growth. And Goku actually likes that idea. As long as Cell's fine with it, they should do something with that. And they agree, going to Bulma, and she's basically able to upgrade Cell a bit. She gets a piece of hair from Goku to update his DNA, and also adds Broly to him too. Cell doesn't have immediate improvement, but this is going to boost him significantly. Now with the mutations of Broly, and the power of Goku's godly ki, that is really going to change things. They think this is a good augmentation for him. And it's not like he has drones collecting data for him anymore, but as a great fighter, he's been collecting data just by sparring with Goku and fighting others, so he's grown in that regard as well. At some point, Beerus does eventually return. Right now we're about 2 years after the Buu Saga, which is still earlier than Battle of Gods happened normally. Beerus is mainly here for the food, but Vegeta decides to make a move, asking if he could train under Beerus and Whis. Broly catches wind of this, same for Cell, and then eventually Goku. You know, that's a lot of people to have on his planet at once, but he goes along with it. They all have the potential to be great rivals to him, and he can only imagine how strong they'd grow by training together and getting godly ki all for themselves. Although, weirdly enough, he feels that Cell has some latent godly ki now. As for the other two, he doesn't sense it, but they've definitely been improving. They have grown stronger. Plus, there's another thing he knows about. He heard Goku knows Metamorph Fusion. Whis told him this. That's how Frieza was defeated. And yeah, Goku hasn't really used it in a while. He hasn't had the need to in a bit because he's grown a lot stronger on his own. Same for all of his allies. Interesting. Beerus wonders if he could use that for a good fight. You know, imagine a couple Super Saiyan gods fusing, or Goku fusing with Broly, for example, or Cell. That's really piqued his interest. A Super Saiyan god fusion. He would love to see that. But of course, he would need to bring them to his planet. And they seem serious about it, so he agrees under one condition. Each of them needs to bring their own unique food offering. If they can impress him with the food here, they'll get to go. Vegeta and Broly are a bit disadvantaged because they haven't been on this planet long. Vegeta does procure some good food because by now he's actually living with Bulma, so he knows good cuisine. As for Broly, well, he has a good living situation with Paragus, but he's mostly used to space food. Definitely better than what was on Vampa, but still, they weren't really eating anything luxurious out in space. So on Earth, the bare minimum is good for him. And thankfully it is for Beerus too, because he was impressed by cup noodles. He'd be impressed by anything. Although cup noodles are pretty damn good, so I get that. Maybe that's what Broly gives him. Goku and Cell definitely know good foods because they've been here for so long, and this means all four of them get to go to Beerus' planet to train under Whis. This also does make Cell wonder, what if he got Beerus' DNA too? Well, that would kind of be like cheating. He'd rather just grow strong on his own now. It's not going to be fun if he just gets Beerus and Whis' DNA and then grows ultra strong and then no one can fight him. Because what's the point in fighting if he knows he's going to win everything and has to hold back all the time? He thinks it would be better to spar and grow on his own. Not that Cell's going to do anything bad with that, because he's pure-hearted here. He's a good android, so he's not scheming or anything. Plus, he's not sure if Beerus would actually want him to have his DNA. Doesn't matter, he's not going to go for it. They're all training on Beerus' planet and time passes. Soon enough we get to the point when Battle of Gods actually was supposed to happen. So what's changed so far? Well, one thing I do want to note is I want to keep the scenario more grounded. I did mention that in the first part, and we've already kind of gone off the rails in some aspects, so I won't introduce any new forms or anything. I promise, it's not going to get absurd. I still am trying to be realistic here, so while people are growing strong in this scenario, I'm not going to create some new original forms for them. Goku and Vegeta by now have Super Saiyan Blue. As for Broly, he has Super Saiyan God, and the serenity of this form is actually perfect for him. He doesn't have to hold back his power anymore. And maybe this will help actually unlocking Super Saiyan, because that's the next step. He needs to actually fully master that for Super Saiyan Blue to be used. He hasn't really used Super Saiyan much, and without full control in it, he can't use Super Saiyan Blue. But Super Saiyan God might be the perfect way to actually get to that point. As for Cell, he has the essence of both God forms, but has no physical change. Technically, he is using Super Saiyan Blue already, he just doesn't look like it. Like I said, we don't really want to get too crazy, so I'm not going to show you Blue Cell or anything. Just know he basically is utilizing that power. So right now, Cell is the strongest, followed by Broly, then Goku and Vegeta, who are pretty much even. But we'll see where that power takes them in the next part. This is where we'll leave off for now. What do you guys think about this part and what's going to happen next time? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help with the channel, and it shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.